What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm putting together my top favorite 15 stretches that will open up your entire body. It can be very overwhelming to see all these stretches in social media, and I'm guilty of that for sharing so many routines with you guys. So for this video, I wanted to compress it with the most effective stretches that we have to open up our entire body from head to toes. We're gonna be opening our ankles, feet and toes, our knees, our hips, our spines, our shoulders, and even our neck. Stay tuned for this video. We're also going to be giving you modifications for beginners as well as for advanced, as well as other modifications if you want to make the stretches more passively or more actively. So without further ado, let's fucking go. Alright, family, let's build it from the ground up. We're gonna start with the toes, the feet, and the ankles. We're gonna be starting with a kneeling sit with our ankles in dorsiflexion, that is flex, and we get this nice stretch on the toes. For some people, it might be very, very uncomfortable. Just assist with your hands and try to slowly sit down, and eventually you'll be able to just sit straight and get a nice stretch into the toes as well as into the ankles. Then we can switch this position for the second position, which is a kneeling sit but with pointed feet or plantar flexion. This will stretch now the front part of your ankle. If you want a little more, you can support yourself with your hands and lift your knees off. This will increase obviously the stretch on the ankle as well as getting now into the tibialis, which is the front part of your shin. You can do it passively or you can even do it actively like so. Maybe get into the levitating squat, but different video. If you want to work now more into the pointed feet, we can get this into a pointed lunge or loaded pointed stretch. You can stay right here and just push the toes down into the floor. Now we're stretching the toes in the opposite direction than the first stretch, and if we send the ankle forward as well as the knee forward, we also get the stretch into the tibialis. Again, this will be to improve your pointed feet. Now, to get deeper into the opposite, which is going to be dorsiflexion, we're going to need an elevation, and we're going to be taking care of the calf. So find a rock right here where you can use this feet, where you can literally sink down into the stretch. Here you can do it passively, so just relax into the stretch, or you can do some contractions where you press with the toes down for 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you allow to relax deeper into the stretch. I recommend that you do this with legs straight. You can also stretch the calf with the bent leg, but having your legs straight also stretches the gastrocnemius, which is the second calf muscle that we have. So if you only had to stretch your calf in one way, I would do it with straight legs. Obviously, make sure to do both sides. And again, you can do it passively or you can do a PNF. That's taking care already of everything that is pointed and everything that is flex, which is your calf, your tibialis, as well as taking care of your toes. Let's move on to the next block. Alright, family, let's continue moving up to the chain into your knees. Now, no, we're not going to be talking about the knees. We're going to be talking about the muscles that surround that knee. Those are going to be your tibialis and your calf, which we already took care of. We're also going to be targeting them here, but we already took care of those. Now it's going to be about the quads, the hip flexors, as well as to the hamstrings, which they attach to your knee. So the first one for the hamstrings, the beloved hamstrings that many people has tightness on. I like elephant walks. You can just simply do a relaxed forward fold, but I really like elephant walks because it adds a dimension that you can push further, which we do it by bending one knee, hands on the floor, and then we bend the other knee and we try to keep this compression so the chest as close to the knees as possible. Again, you can support yourself even with a higher elevation. You can even put your hands right here, or if you're more advanced, you can grab it right here and do this motion like so. Try not to separate yourself so much from your knees, but try to keep that compression going as you go from one side to the other side. 20 to 30 reps is a good place to be, and then you can relax into your forward fold. If you want to add a little bit more intensity into it and also involve more the calf, I really like to elevate my toes Ideally, you would use a land board or something. I'm gonna put an overshot right here. This will pre-stretch your calf, and it will feel very, very intense on your calf as well as on your hamstrings. This is also called hamstring flossing, because it's flossing the nerves on the posterior chain of your legs. And again, choose your intensity. The less compression you have, or the less your chest is close to your quads, the easier it's going to be, and the more compressed you are throughout the entire motion, the more intense it's going to be. And if you add that foot elevation, even better. That's gonna be for the hamstring. Now for the quads, we're gonna be doing the couch stretch, so you can find a wall or a tree, and you're gonna be getting the knee as close to this as possible. You might start right here, and you might have to like wiggle yourself up, and that might be enough for a lot of people. What I want you to do is find a spot where you can tuck your pelvis in. So instead of anterior, you want to tuck the pelvis in. Once you have that in, you start climbing up into the ladder. Start climbing up. If at any point this happens, you go back, you reset. You don't want to sacrifice hip positioning for depth. But ideally, the goal would be to send your hips back. You will feel a deep, deep, deep stretch into your rectus femoris and the entire quadricep muscle. Again, don't sacrifice this. I'd rather that you are here, but keeping the integrity of the hips. That's gonna be for the hip flexors, for the quads. Now for the hip flexors, you can stay on the wall or you can release the wall. And what you're gonna be doing is now, instead of sending the hips back, you're gonna be sending the hips forward. Again, keeping the posterior pelvic tilt, send the hips forward, and for an added stretch to the hip flexors, you're gonna be going into the opposite side, and you should feel the stretch right here all into your hip flexors. You can even add some rotation into the mix. So with this, we got the hamstrings, we got the hip flexors, we got the quads, taking care of everything that is connected to the knee. Now let's move on into the hips. All right, family, let's take away all the seating that we do, or let's fix all the seating that we do by working on the hips. So the next muscle group or joint will be our hips. Our hips has your hip flexors, your hamstrings, your inner hips, your outer hips. We already took care of the quads and hip flexors as well as the hamstrings. So let's take care of some hip rotation as well as inner hip and outer hip, also known as abductors and adductors. So the first one is going to be a simple 90-90 stretch, because it's so versatile, it's so useful, and we get into internal rotation of one leg and external rotation of the other leg. Many ways that we can go around it. The first thing is try to get a 90-degree angle and not something like this, weird. So something like 90 degrees, that will put more stretch, at least on this leg and on this leg as well. The more you bend it, the less intense it's going to be. So try to get a 90-degree stretch. You can simply rotate side to side, even with hands assistance for all my beginners. You can do it then without hands assistance. And then you can start adding a little bit more, where when you go to this side, you fall towards this side. You can either go towards that side or you can go a little bit here. So here it will target more the glutes. When we work here, it will be more like the piriformis. You don't need to remember all that. You simply maybe spend some time here. If you feel more tightness here, spend some time here. If you feel more tightness here, spend more time here. You can also do good mornings, where you go up and down. You can also do PNF, where you press with the leg down, activate for 5 seconds, and then you relax for about 10 to 15 seconds and repeat 3 times. Many options here. You can also, on this position, work on internal rotation, active internal rotation of the back leg. And the same with the other side. You can fall, you can actively internal rotation. You can also actively, instead of pressing down and then relaxing, you can press up. So you put the hand here, you try to press up, the feet will not lift, and then you relax into the stretch. So many options into the 90-90 stretch, very versatile. I use it for every single warm-up routine that I do with my hips. The next one is we get into the famous squat. We need to be very comfortable in the squat. Here we're involving stretching into the knees, into the ankles as well. So now we're starting to tie everything together. So maybe if you don't have a squat and you're right here, we need to work towards that. So grab something and try to work towards it. But also the calf stretches that we did before, it's gonna facilitate this motion. So at the end, I'm gonna be putting everything into like a little sequence so you kind of know how to go about it. But get very comfortable into your squat. You can open your legs to the side. You can move around. You can involve the spine, flex and up. You can simply find stillness right here. If you're feeling very, very optimistic, you can go into like kind of like a 90-90 where you go down and then you go back into a squat, but this is more for my advanced athletes. But again, you can do it assisting with your legs. So many options, but this position or this stretch is going to be the squat because we need to be in a squat. Then the last one, it's going to be moving from a squat to forward fold. Now again, we're starting to put everything linked together. We go from a squat and then we exhale into a forward fold. Then we inhale into a squat, open into the hips, then we exhale into the forward fold. Again, can be done actively like so. You can even raise your arms up, or you can be very passively with your hands here and just find some movement in both positions, opening up again the inner hips as well as the hamstrings. With the 90-90, we open into the outer hips as well as the inner hips, and that way we cover the entire hip region. I'll see you on the spine. All right, moving up into the chain. We're gonna be taking care of the spine. We are all as old as the spine, as the saying goes. We're gonna begin with back to the squat. So we're starting to link everything together. We're gonna be doing some thoracic rotations in the squat. So you're gonna be in your squat, even if you have to just lift your heels to be able to do this exercise. You're gonna place one hand on the floor, the other one is gonna be behind your head, and you're gonna simply try to rotate as much as you can. That's enough, and then you go back to center. You can do reps on one side, or you can alternate. That'll be the easier variation. Now, if you wanna scale it a bit more, you will do the same. So first, with this elbow, you're gonna press so you rotate slightly more. Now, after you have found your maximum rotation, you're gonna look up, look to your elbow, and then extend the arm up. If we repeat on the other side, with this elbow, we push. I also like to put my hand right here to feel the rotation going on my spine, and then I open up. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale here. Or you can also inhale as you go up, whichever feels more natural to you. So there we're taking care now of the rotation of the spine. Then we're gonna go back to the forward fold, the seated forward fold, and we're simply going to add a twist to one side. This will get us into the QL muscles. So getting some side flexion on the lumbar spine. You hold for 30 to 60 seconds on one side, then on the other side. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can bend this knee, so the knee that is on the side that you're going, and you can find more rotation. If you want even more deep, you can try to grab the ankle behind you and just find some rotation right here. So we're taking care of the QL muscles as well as the rotators as well as the obliques. Now the king of spine exercises is going to be spinal waves. I suck at it, I'm not good at it. There are many ways to do spinal wave. If you want a full tutorial, let us know down below, and Yasir will take care of that one. But pretty much it's moving our spine in all the different directions that we have. So I like to start, or the one that I know is I push my hips forward, I enter into extension. I also extend my cervical spine now, which is involving my neck, and then I go back, I flex, and then I extend. So extension, I exhale as I flex, inhale, then exhale. Again, I suck. You can also reverse the motion and just try to move organically, even if you look like all crooked and like it doesn't really look like a spinal wave, or your range is just very minimal. That's totally fine. Again, if you want a full tutorial, let us know down below, but just move your spine. It doesn't have to look like a perfect spinal wave, which mine is not, so let me put a clip of Yasir doing it. Just simply move your spine. Maybe small movements, doesn't need to look in any particular way. Just move your spine in a safe manner that do not cause pain, and just get some blood flow going there. Then we just cover the squat rotations as well as going into this side reaches from forward fold. So as you can see, we're starting to mix together the first positions that we have with the positions that we have right now to literally mobilize the entire body from toes to head. I'll see you on the last one, which is going to be our beloved shoulders and our neck. All right, let's finish up with the shoulders and the neck. For the shoulders, we're gonna be focusing on two movements, which is gonna be shoulder extension and also shoulder flexion. If you have a bar like this, they'll be freakingly perfect because the first one is going to be a assisted German hang, where you can simply relax right here and allow the chest to open as well as the biceps to open. The more narrow you go, the harder this exercise is going to be. As an alternative for that, if you don't have a bar, or if you wanna do something different, you can clasp your hands behind your back, then retract the scapula so you open into the chest, and you can simply fall forward. So now again, we're mixing two positions. We're stretching the hamstrings as well as the shoulders into extension. So that's the first one for the shoulders. The second one now is gonna be into shoulder flexion. Again, we can grab a bar. We allow the shoulders to elevate, so we bring them closer to the ears to create some space on the humerus to allow to open. You can involve the entire spine right here, but what I recommend is to create a small whole body shape and push down so the stretch is coming mainly from the shoulders. You can also rotate to one side to get deeper into the lats, or you can rotate to the other side as well. If you don't want to use a bar, or if you don't have a bar or whatever, if you want to do it on the floor, the substitution would be puppy pose in yoga or simply kneeling shoulder flexion stretch. We have the knees ideally below the hips, but if it's too intense, you can get the hips more backwards, or if you want more, you can get the hips more forward. Where in the fingertips, arms straight, we rotate the elbows so they face back, down, and then we relax into the stretch. You can also involve the cervical spine here, so we're starting to involve the neck by placing the chin on the floor. And you can also do some contractions here where you exhale, you round, you press strong into the floor, 5 seconds strong, and then you relax and you open into the shoulders, cervical spine, as well as the entire thoracic spine. So we cover shoulder extension as well as shoulder flexion. And the last one, the 15 stretch. I mean, I think it's more than that, but the 15 combination of a stretch will be for our neck. So let's stand back up. We go back to this little thing and we simply go towards one side. We anchor with the opposite hand. That's going to create some tension right here on the neck. And you can use this hand to pull you deeper into the stretch. And if you want a little more, you can even rotate the neck and then push it down. So you're looking at the opposite pocket and you're grabbing the neck like right here from behind. If you don't have that, that's totally fine. You can simply just be right here with the hand. Just push the hand away from the neck. So the neck is going to one direction. Let me show the other side. The neck is going to one direction and the hand will be going into the opposite direction. You can also finally, for the last demonstration, you can do it seated down. That way you can anchor the hand and you can do this, stretching this part of the neck, as well as you can do this to stretch a little bit more on the back of the neck. And if you want more as a bonus for the neck, you just press up and we are stretching the neck flexors into extension. So that's it, guys. These are all the stretches. Let me just show you how we can put it into a flow. You can be in a kneeling position. You hold it for 30 seconds. You stretch the toes. Then you move on into a little squat. From here, you can add some rotations into the movement. Then maybe shift forward and sit. So we also engage into the calf. You can assist yourself for all these exercises. Then go back into your squat, sit down, get into some 90-90 for the hips. Then go back into your squat, add some forward folding with the squat, rotate to one side, rotate to the other side, roll up into the spine, add some spinal waves into the mix, and then get some shoulder extension. Then get some shoulder flexion, and then stretch your necks. You can take 5, 10, 15 minutes, or you can check any of our full body mobility routines that we're gonna link up somewhere right here. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this type of video, please let us know in the comment section down below, and please smash that like button. It really helps the channel to grow. And for any other content that you like, please let us know down below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'll see you on the next one. Much love.